this relationship brought this wide range of color into my life that I didn't have until that moment, and really reshaped my relationship with the external world, and also my belief in good, that like good things are gonna happen and good people are gonna come and get into your life. And so I always talk about her like an angel. I call her Angel. So it really made sense to put it into a song.
Welcome to the show, Damiano David. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. It's a big week for you.
Yeah.
The record's dropping soon. You brought the perfect weather to New York.
Yeah, I do it.
You do it. You definitely did it for sure. By the way, I think you do a great New York accent from what I hear, right? I'd love to hear it because I can do mine. But
I wish I had a New York accent.
Apparently you do a great one. You do great accents, I hear. That's the word on the street. The record's dropping soon.
Yeah.
May 16th. You really excited about it?
I'm very excited. I'm very
Awesome.
excited. It's amazing.
What are your fears? Funny little fears. I mean, I have a lot of fears. I hate flying. I'm always lonely. I hate to be lonely. Do you have the same fears that I do?
I hate being lonely. I don't cope well with it. Yes, I have a lot of fears. I think in general the album was a way for me to actually see my fears and kind of face them. And in order to do it, I had to overcome the majority of that. So that's why of the title. And I think the whole process, it's actually the storytelling of me trying to handle my fears.
How did the title come about? Is it that you also hate flying? Because I also hate flying. So I feel like it's something we can relate to.
No, I think we were thinking at potential titles, and there was a bunch that were coming up. But like, there's a song that first of all has the line, I've got a funny little fear of da-da-da. And also it's a common theme between a lot of songs. Like I wasn't even aware that I was doing it because I didn't know the title, but there's a lot of songs where the word fear comes out, and where I'm talking about something that starts from a concept of fear.
Well, there's so much to get into. A friend of mine works at Italian Vogue, and years ago she told me about the band, and she said, you were on the cover actually not too long ago, and she said, there's this great band from Italy. They won Eurovision. You're going to love them. And I said, there's never really been a rock band from Italy that's really made it that I can remember. So did you feel like you faced some skepticism early on coming from Italy and try? Because there aren't a lot of rock bands. I mean, I know Fedis, he does hip hop, but if you think about rock bands from Italy, not a ton of them, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it was because of our nationality. I think nobody really cared. Actually, if anything, there was some kind of like charm with us being Italian. I think that it was hard for us to scroll off our skin the talent show artist, because we did the X Factor, we did the Eurovision, so there was a lot of people that see us as this talent show kind of artist, but we always use them as a tool and not like a goal. So.
Early on, I think you got a call from someone that worked at X Factor, and you were sort of skeptical yourself, and you said, I don't really want to do this because it doesn't feel like it's right. Or maybe you didn't believe it was a real thing, right?
You know, when you don't do it, there's a lot of rumors about X Factor, American Idol, whatever it is, like about talent shows in general, that they're like this machine that eats you and kills you and everything. And I think that there's been situation where it was actually like that, but it was not ours. Like for me, my opinion on talent show is positive, because they might be a huge trampoline, you know?
Yeah. Well, take me back to the beginning, how you first got into music. I think both of your parents were flight attendants, so you got to travel the world, which is pretty amazing. What's the best place you went to?
I spent 2 birthdays in Thailand when I was a kid.
Amazing.
Which I think it's pretty... I'm one of the very few kids that can see it. We've been to Tanzania, we've been pretty much everywhere until the company failed. And so it was not as fun anymore. But no, yeah, they're both flight attendants. They were both flight attendants. They're retired now. But I think that like my first approach to music was thanks to my dad. He's a huge listener. My first memories are like REM playing in the house. Amazing. So yeah, I think it's a lot of it, at least of the taste. It's from him. Also, my mom loves music in general, but in a less intense way.
And apparently you and your brother would play Guitar Hero. I think one of you was into Guns N' Roses and one of you was into Aerosmith, but I think maybe he won.
Yeah, he won. He won, and we ended up going to the Guns N' Roses concert. So.
It's funny because you refer to Guns N' Roses at some point as like a pop band, because I know a lot of the music you're doing now is different than Måneskin, but in what way do you mean? Because do you just mean popular music, or back in the day you kind of thought they were...
Yeah, I think that I always think that whoever was topping the charts at their time was pop.
Yeah.
Because pop means popular. So like they dominated their time, and they were pop. Like it sounded not like the pop that we all think about, but it was the pop of that moment.
For sure. Were you rebellious as a kid?
I was a very I was a very active kid. Yeah.
Yeah. In what way? You just didn't want. I mean, you wanted to do music, I think, from such an early age, right? I mean, you didn't really do it professionally until you were in your teens. I think it was sort of like basketball or music. I'm happy you chose music.
No, I was a little how do you say, like, I was promising when I was little in basketball, so my parents didn't take it very well when I stopped, but thank God I did, because I'm barely 6 foot. So 6 feet. So yeah, but I always had a relationship with music. Like, it always been part of my life. It's always been not that I was aware of because I was a kid, but it was a huge companion for me with everything I did, and to focus, to think about my emotions, to spend time, to like literally wherever. I always had this dream of being a musician and everything that it concerns. So I started doing doing it like seriously at 14, but I think it's like an imprinting that I had since I'm born.
And your dad collected vinyl, but what was the first record that you bought, Damiano, on yourself, on your own?
First record that I bought, I think it's Mika's record.
Good record.
It was like the first time I had money.
Yeah.
Like stealing money from my mom purse.
Was your dad into rock and roll, or was mostly...
No. He's a huge rock and roll fan. Elvis Costello.
Amazing.
Red Hot, R.E.M., Soundgarden, like everything. He's a huge music listener.
But it's interesting. You always thought, I think, musically, you never have idols because you feel like it's like unattainable in a sense, and it's something that you don't really believe in as much, I guess, right?
I think it's... I think that even if I didn't do this job, I always have a hard time idolizing someone that much. Like, I can respect your production, I can respect your music, but until I know you from close, like, there's people that I know and I don't like the music they do, and I respect them more than people that I know I like their music, but I don't really like them. So it's the production and the person are always like very separated. So I might be a huge fan of that specific song or that specific album or that specific performance, but then the artist per se, it's hard for me to have like this fascination. And now that I do this job, I think it would be also weird because they literally do my same job. Like, somebody does it at a higher level, of course, which again I really do respect. But then we're colleagues.
It's interesting too. Sometimes it's hard to separate the art from the artist, right? There's artists that I love, but you're right. Maybe as people, they're not the greatest people. So I want to listen to the music, but I'm like, that person's a shitty person, but I still want to, what do I do? It's a conflict. But growing up, talk to me about growing up, because it's so fascinating. You kind of met the band on Facebook, which is weird because it's like such not a thing now. Like, if I wouldn't find a doctor on Facebook, but I guess back in the day, that's kind of what was going on, right?
Yeah. And also, like, with social media trends in Italy, we're always a couple of years late compared to here. So Facebook was actually still a big thing. And me, Victoria, and Thomas, we were in the same middle school, and we knew each other like hi, not much more than that. And then we found our drummer, Ethan, on Facebook with literally like an announce, like, we need a drummer. And he was like, okay, I'm a drummer. And then he came and he was 10 times better than each one of us, and we were like playing it cool and be like, okay, I will let you know, but we were like, oh my god, who's this kid?
Was he the only one that replied to that, or were there other people?
He was the only person that replied to that. Yeah.
So I guess in a way it's fate, right?
I believe there's a huge part of fate.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was supposed to happen one way or another.
Because they had another singer early on. I mean, again, you guys were only like 14, so I don't know how serious the band was at that point. But
they had a girl. They had a girl singing, but they weren't very happy about it.
And the first time you got together, because you end up busking on the streets of Rome and whatnot, but the first time you got together, was there instant chemistry with everyone? Or you thought, I could work with this, or kick out your singer, I'm better than her?
I think we were so young that we were not even thinking about like chemistry or anything else. We were like, and I think each one of us individually had this thought, like, I want to play, and these kids allow me to play. Right. So let's play first, then we see if there's but I think at 14 you don't even have the idea of chemistry. Yeah. I think it just happened because there was very strong chemistry, of course, but we didn't realize it until we got to X Factor and we were facing a real audience for the first time. We didn't understand how special we were in that moment.
What did the ad say when you looked for Ethan? Did it just say Italian rock band looking for a drummer, or did you actually specify like what you were into? Do you remember?
I remember we texted like looking for a drummer for a like prog experiment. We said something like so weird that was totally not our genre. But at the time, like, you're a kid and you believe that you might be the next Pink Floyd, and then you try and you're like, okay, let's try the next thing.
Did everyone else in the band share the same influences?
No. I've always been kind of the outsider in the band. They've always been extremely into the rock culture and the band culture in general. While for me, I was an extremely like pop raised kid. Of course, I had knowledge because of my dad, of all like the bands and the big frontmans and the big groups. But I've always had like a tendency for pop, and my rock/band culture comes a lot from them.
Although you went through a little phase of rock, because you mentioned the Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses phase.
No, definitely.
There was definitely that phase at some point, right? How do you think that Italian culture kind of shaped you as an artist? Because you mentioned on your new record, it's sort of like Italian drama, and we're going to get into the new record too. But how do you think coming from Italy like shaped you as an artist?
I think, like, first of all, culturally, I have some patterns and dynamics and beliefs that I think come a lot from my culture, and also I think the huge attraction for beauty in general and in every form. I think it's a very Italian thing. In general, I think my taste it's deeply shaped in Italian culture, also musically. Let's say our peak historically has been with songwriters, and so I have a huge fascination for words, language, how to say something in 1,000 different ways to spark a different emotion. So I think I'm heavily influenced by my being Italian.
You mentioned you could just in the future you would maybe just be a songwriter and producer. Do you feel like that's something you would just do and that would satisfy you?
Definitely. Yeah. I think once my stage dreams will be over, my dream would be to be a creative. Not only songwriting. I like to write projects in general, like the visuals and how we are going to communicate X, Y, Z. It's very fun for me.
Well, talk to me about X Factor, because early on you got on the show and then obviously you ended up winning Eurovision. But that show in particular, we talked about it a little bit, but some of the contracts early on for a lot of those shows were pretty scary for artists, right? When you first got into it, because you're like sort of signing your life away, and I'm sure there's a lot of artists on American Idol that just, who knows, they're sort of controlled, sort of like K-pop and what's happening in that business. So was it a bit scary for you early on to be winning, those shows and think, I don't know, I have a different view of the music business at this point.
No, we were first of all, we didn't win X Factor. We got second place, which I think was our goal.
Blessing in a
I
way.
think it was our golden ticket, literally,
Yeah.
because if you win, you get a pre-formed contract that it's that, and you cannot change it. If you get second place, it's up to Sony to decide if they want you or not.
Right.
And they wanted us.
So they get like first right
us.
of refusal on the artist.
Exactly.
Right.
And they decided that they wanted us. So we had an actual music contract. It was still not the best,
Right.
but I think it's also fair that it's not the best at the beginning, because I go to the X Factor as a no one and they give me a millions euros production and they give me 5 to 10 million people watching every night, whatever it is, watching every single night, every single day with the daily. They tell your story, they make you into someone. So I mean, it's kind of fair that for the first album I kind of, give back that charity that
Sure,
they did to
yeah.
me, so it was fair. It was not the best contract, but it was fair. But we were so naive at the time. Like, we were so convinced we are the coolest kids in the market. Like, you cannot find a cooler kid than us. We are good. We make good music. Like, we cannot be stopped.
I love the videos of you busking on the
Yeah.
street even before that, because even then you saw that you had the confidence, and obviously you're playing at different, I think you even played at like restaurants early on
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
right? And that was there ever a point when you were doing that where you said to yourself, I don't know, maybe this isn't going to work out for me?
No. Because and I mean, it's also been easier for us to not fall into this thought compared to other people that try for like years and years and years, and they always had like the door shut in their face. We tried for a year and a half with restaurants. It was not the best, but again, we were kids and we were having fun, and we didn't have expenses or bills or house loans to pay.
Now, what are you playing at these restaurants? Are you playing like Italian songs or
No,
not
no,
Guns
no,
N'
no.
Roses? I mean, they're not people.
Not Guns N' Roses, but like covers of everything. Like, we went from Nicki Minaj to, I don't know, like Dub Effects, which is this like independent beatbox artist. We Ragamuffin stuff. Damian Marley. Like, we used to do
Everything.
literally everything. We were kind of a jukebox. We had so many songs ready, so all the time. Yeah, we were kind of a jukebox, actually.
What was the most amount of money anyone ever gave you as a tip on the street back in the day?
I think like a single person gave us like 50 euros
Pretty
right
good.
off the bat. Yeah.
You got a meal from that.
I mean, like, that's huge.
Yeah.
For basking, it's like huge. It's a day.
Do you ever go back and look at your progression from the first shows on X Factor to when you
Yeah.
won Eurovision? What do you think of your progression when you watch it?
There's a bunch of fan made videos of our whole
Yeah.
timeline, and it's emotional, of course. It's so crazy also to think that it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like such a long time, and it feels like it was yesterday.
Is it hard to watch those videos, or you embrace it? You love it?
No,
Yeah.
no. It makes me smile a lot.
Amazing. Well, you
course.
achieved so much with the band, obviously. Is it hard staying on top and always sort of chasing that spot? I mean, you toured with the Stones. You got nominated for a Grammy. I want to ask you about that too. You toured the world. Is it hard? Are you always chasing that thing where you kind of want to stay on top?
It's hard if you make it your goal, because then if it doesn't come, it starts being a nightmare. Because in order to get it, you have to sacrifice a lot of things. So if you don't make it your main goal, but you make it a beautiful consequence of what you're doing, I think it's doable. Which is the way I'm doing it now. Like, I always try to not think at the final goal, because there's no final goal. There's no like, I have to win this Grammy, I have to win this award. There's none of that. There's like the awareness that if we do things properly, we higher the chances for us to be recognized. But at the same time, for me now, huge priority. It's my mental health and not finding myself like dying with anxiety and loneliness and all this stuff. So I always try to put on the scale the two things. And I think it's all about finding the balance of like how much you want to sacrifice, and also how's your heart while you do these things, because there's so many things, like endless opportunities to play, to promote your music, and you can like theoretically take them all.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure too.
But it would mean like to sacrifice completely your personal time. And if you're willing to do it and you had in your head that that's your plan, that's a good thing. If you're able to enjoy doing it and not thinking that if I do this, automatically I'm gonna win a Grammy, because then if you don't win a Grammy, it's not nice. It's really not nice.
Although it was probably amazing getting nominated for Best New Artist. I mean, that's got to be like a dream come true, because you work your whole life to get that nomination, right?
It was insane. I honestly, I didn't think as an Italian artist that I would ever have the chance to be nominated, especially for like a main category like Best New Artist. It's like, wow.
Incredible. So what was that moment like for you when you get that call and someone says, guess what, you got nominated?
It's a big celebration moment, honestly. Yeah, it's quite unique.
What were the high points? Because obviously we spoke about touring with the Stones and getting the Grammy nomination, but is there one moment where you said, I feel like I've reached my pinnacle? Because obviously we were going to get into your solo work and your new record, but was there a point where you said to yourself, I feel like I've achieved so much now, you know, from opening up with the Stones to touring and doing all the major festivals? You sold out MSG, you sold out the Forum, pretty big achievements, especially for a new band.
For me, I think there's two like milestones. The first one, it's more related with being Italian and my culture, which is winning Sanremo, which is what brought us to the Eurovision, which for me, it's the craziest thing we did, like the most odd thing we did, because Sanremo, it's the celebration of Italian music. So it's like all the best Italian, like all the big Italian artists, 20, 25, whatever, they compete 5 nights with the same song to be like, you're like the artist of the moment, whatever. But it's like such a crazy thing that we wanted, because we wanted with Zitti e Buoni, a rock song, and that's the least rock place in the world. Like the last rock act that went there ended up last. So it was a huge leap of faith, and winning was like kind of the proof that everything is possible if you really put your heart in it. And then probably having a sold out American tour and world tour was like, you understand that now you're playing the major league.
Yeah. Is it hard for you? Because I think you're friends with a lot of your friends from like high school that you grew up with. Is it hard when you go back to Rome? You played for like 70,000 people there or something. So is it hard when you want to keep your anonymity and you just want to kind of lay low when you're home? Or does everyone bother you all the time there?
Yeah, in Italy, of course, there's a huge percentage of people that
you can't walk down the street there, right?
Not really.
Yeah.
Do
you mind that, or is it?
I do mind that. Yes, I do mind that. I think in the future I'm gonna do like a process of disappearing. It's of course it's beautiful from one side, because it opened so many doors for my life, but then of course sometimes I miss, I think today even more than when I was actually that age, but like I feel like I missed my 20s because I was either working or like closed in some house to kind of relax and everything. But I have to say, like, my friends are a huge support system. They're the same people I used to hang out in high school, so I always have that picture of normality waiting for me at home.
The great thing about your friends from high school is they don't really usually care what you do for a living.
They don't. Yeah, they make a lot of fun of me.
My friends are like, I don't care if you're running a company or you're a janitor. As long as you're my friend, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So talk to me about the new record. It's exciting. Like I said, it's a big week for you because May 16th, the record drops. When you go to the band and you say, I think I want to do a solo record, are they upset? Are they supportive?
No, I think it was something that developed in such a long time. Like I didn't wake up one day and I was like, I want to do a record. Like I woke up one day and I'm gonna do the record.
Right.
But there was a lot of like, I wouldn't call it preparation because I don't have to prepare anybody, but like there was a common shared knowledge that one day this project was gonna come. And so when I told them, it was just like, oh, okay, finally happened, you know?
In a way, I guess it's healthy because when you eventually come back to the band, it's a different
Yeah.
perspective on
No,
things,
definitely,
right?
definitely from everybody. And also, I think I chose the right time because we were on a break, anyways. So I tried to be as respectful as possible of the band body of work.
Did you feel like you needed to take a break after being on such a high? Yeah, because it's a lot, right? When you're touring the world, and
Yeah, yeah,
most
yeah,
people
yeah.
want to tour, but they don't want to tour for 12 months. Maybe they want to tour for 7 months and be with their family and their loved ones.
Yeah,
And so.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So did you feel like you were at that point where you're like, I just need to take a break for a minute?
Yeah, yeah, because for how things went and happened, we basically never stopped since 2021, since Sanremo, because after Sanremo we had Eurovision, and after Eurovision we got big in Europe, and so travel Europe, and then after Europe, America came in, and we were like, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna go to America? Let's go to America, and then first American tour, and then first world tour. So like, it's been insane 4 years, all focused on working, and I wouldn't say chasing something because we weren't chasing, but like really running after all the opportunities that we were having, and it brought a lot of joy and satisfaction. But at the same time, at one point, you pay the check.
But in a way, there is a pressure to always remain on top because then your team grows. Before you know, you have pressure to write a hit every. It's like not every song. Sometimes you write songs for yourself, and you're not writing a song. I mean, of course, you want other people to hear them, but it's also because you got to do it because you love it. So there is that pressure that comes about the better and better you do. So in a way, I guess stepping away for a moment was probably healthy.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think definitely kind of taking 2 steps back and see the larger picture and see like if I keep doing that, what's going to happen in 4 or 5 years from now. What are the areas of my life that right now are in danger? What are the things that I have to take more care of that I kind of left behind in these years?
Do you think there's a transparency in the music industry now? Obviously, it's so much different. Back in the day, you had like record labels fueling like drug habits of people in the 80s to now. And then, the contracts like we spoke about, some of those TV shows. But do you feel like there's an overall transparency of like the record business now, or do you think it needs to change?
I think it needs to change the way labels build artists, because there's no one now that it's like believing in something and working to make that happen. Now it's like, write a bunch of songs, publish it on TikTok, and if you have a viral moment, we're gonna start giving you budget to do stuff. Which is fortunately not my case, but it's the case of a lot of artists right now. And I feel like there's a lack of creativity and a lack of, not talent, because I think there's a lot of talent around. There's a lack of will to look for talent. There's a lack of will to fail, like acceptance to fail, to not make the biggest record ever, but to make a record that is gonna open the path for the next 10 years of career of somebody.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of like, one artist, this is the artist of the year, let's do everything towards that artist, which is kind of weird.
But you're right. A lot of labels will say, if your hit goes viral, we're going to put money into you.
Yeah.
But it's so fascinating. Was it a conscious effort early on, the image of the band and the fashion sense? Because you have a great fashion sensibility. Like I spoke about, you were on the cover of Italian Vogue, which is pretty amazing. Did you ever talk about it, or just came naturally for the band?
No, we were already by ourselves, a little different from the other kids, styling wise. We had a more of a personal style, even individually. But then when we got together, you kind of see it more, because you see your partners and you're like, oh, you're weird, just like me. So it was kind of, again, we didn't talk about it because we were so little, but I think there was this common feeling and knowledge that our looking different from the other kids was a point of strength for us. And so we, since the very start, we started being like, okay, we go play there, we need the outfit. We're not gonna go like in sweaters and stuff. Like we need the fit, we need to be cohesive, because also we had very strong the image of the band and not like the singer and his three fellas. So like it was not like you have to look cool and we are dressed in like black in the background. It was like everybody, each one of us has to have their
personality.
Yeah, their moment to shine, you know, like the guitar solo, the bass solo, the drum solo. Like everybody needs to be present and visible, but also like you need the treat sometime, you know. Like maybe that solo is not the best idea, but who cares? Like have fun. We're playing, like it's all about having fun. So,
and if you think about some of the best bands ever, like Zeppelin, they were all individuals, and that's what made your band so great. Is the band supportive when you do your solo record? I mean, what's the status of the band at the moment? I'm guessing you'll get back at some point and do music again, right?
We're good.
You're good. Yeah. Is it scary though to be on your own? Because you always had the other three to kind of look at them, you turn around, and all of a sudden they're not there. And now you're on your own. You got the new record coming out. Is it a bit scary in a way?
For some parts, it's of course it's more scary, but for others it's less. I mean, like of course I'm alone. The responsibility is on me. I'm gonna tour alone and everything. But at the same time, the music in the record, it didn't go through any compromise. So if something doesn't go as well or kills it, I know that it's like on me, and it's not like I cannot blame the compromise. And sometimes it's like the song doesn't really go well and you're like, oh, but maybe if we did it my way, or if we did it your way, it could have been different. Well, now I don't have this what if.
Yeah.
It's like, this is it. What's done, it's done.
Well, it's a fantastic record. Talk to me about the process. You kind of work with, like, you interviewed, I guess, probably maybe like 100 songwriters to work with you. I guess you're akin to like almost like speed dating, right? You meet for a minute. Are you the right now? And you move on. But did you get in a room with people sometimes and said the chemistry is not here? Yeah. Maybe they're trying to push their ideas on you too much?
I think that the best setup, it's when people are able to take a step back from their ego, and this concerns also the artist himself, and really play as a team. Like, what's our goal? This is our goal. How do we get there together? And of course, there's a recording artist in the studio, so the song is going to belong to that person. Like, the face of the song is going to be that. So I think that as a songwriter, if you're a good songwriter, your role is to help me shine. So it's less about your taste. It's more about as a watcher, what I think it's your golden ticket and how I can bring it out, and like how do I see what's the points of strength that I see in you. But also you as an artist, you have to be able to like be cooperative, and otherwise like write it on your own. Like why are you doing session if you don't use any of our ideas? I think that being neutral about our own taste is the best thing that we can do. It's like we are working for the music. The music is not working for us.
And I've heard you say if you get in a room and you don't finish a song, that it's not really worth coming back another day for.
Yeah.
So there's times that you would stay in that room for hours and hours, I would guess, right?
Yeah. There was insane insane days. We
like
also
the 4 in the morning or something?
Yeah, no. We also did camps. We went to Joshua Tree with no chance of leaving, basically. So yeah, we had some late night sessions.
A writing camp's weird because you get in a room with people who sometimes are older than you, right? You kind of have to get real personal with them right away and get vulnerable with them. Is it a bit weird in a sense?
I bet it will be. In my case, it was towards the end of the project. and it was with people I've been working for the last like 7 months. So I already considered them friends, and it
Yeah.
was like a very good time, and it was not hard to kind of adapt to everybody else because we spent the last half a year in a house together anyways. So but I bet that like in a different situation it would have been quite weird.
Yeah, were you fans of people like Labyrinth and Sarah and Jason that you'd work with on the record? Were those people that you really admired their work? Some of them had worked with Billie Eilish to Selena to whoever.
Yeah, no, they're amazing, and but I always like, I know of course like what they did and what's their like biggest achievements, but I always try to really detach from what the songwriter's work has been until that moment, because maybe like you go in with the songwriter that wrote whatever, like the Lady Gaga hit, and you expect that.
Right.
And then if they move out of that, you're like, whoa, what's happened? Like I came in for, I wanted Shallow. Why are we doing something else? And if you don't really check, and I just go with like the confidence that they're great, they're going to be great for sure, because like that's their job.
Well, you wrote so many songs. I think you wrote like 72 songs a record, and you dwindled it down to 14. Was it difficult just to pick the best 14? Because even 14 is kind of a lot these days, right? People have like short attention spans. People want like 8-song albums, but 72 is kind of a lot.
72 is a lot.
Out of those 72, do you think you have like another record in you already?
Half. Yeah,
Okay.
like I mean half. Like if people want a 7-track album, that's an album. But for me, it's half. For me, it's an EP.
It's interesting that this record was kind of inspired by Broadway, I heard, and The Greatest Showman, the movie with Hugh Jackman. Like how so? And that way we're just watching a lot of. Were you watching that movie a lot? And just
I when I was writing the album, at the beginning, I didn't know what my sound was going to be, and so I had, especially in the beginning, a lot of different styles, and I didn't know how to put them together. And also, I was talking about it the other day, and this album is quite complicated on a relatability level, because there's such a huge span of emotions. Also, that I think people don't expect to come from a person like me. That I think sometimes it's hard to immediately relate with what I'm saying. And it was hard also for me to kind of make it all make sense. And while I was doing it, my girlfriend, which is a big theater person, she was introducing me. Thank you, babe.
shout out to Dove.
She's here. She was introducing me to this world, and we were going to Broadway shows, and we were watching musical movies. And I remember being extremely attracted by that, because there's this layer of magic that makes you accept everything. It makes you accept that Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, is literally dancing and singing between like 20 other people that are suspended mid-air, and you believe it, and you like it, and you love it. And that magic really inspired me, but also inspired me to like, it kind of broke all the insecurities that I had, because it was like, I was thinking like, is this too different? Is this too much? Is this not what people want from me? Is this like too big of a jump? And then I watched specifically that movie, but I think it's all them together. And I really thought like, okay, no, dreaming is allowed.
Yeah.
Dreaming is truly allowed. I didn't say it like that. I was crying like a kid, and I was, again, with Dove, and I was telling Larry, this makes me dream. This makes me believe that I'm allowed to dream.
In a way, the record is so beautiful, it could be a dream. I mean, it has so much, it's so lush, right? And I feel like you can definitely hear those influences on the record. You mentioned Broadway. Were you going to Broadway shows or just watching? You were?
Yeah.
What shows were you going to that were inspiring?
We watched The Sweeney Todd. We watched Death Becomes Her. We watched Hamilton.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Great
Incredible show. And the level of quality and of like absurdity that we accept, because it's so well done and it's so beautiful, it makes me think like this was the idea of someone, and I bet that he heard thousands of people say this is impossible, and somehow they made it.
I mean, it's a crazy concept when you think about it, because nobody thinks there's going to be history in a musical.
It's
but
insane.
It somehow works.
And then you see it happening,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, like what can ever stop me from making an album? It's like, you know,
this.
you know.
Do you think there was things that you wanted to say from a personal standpoint that you didn't say with the band, and you obviously said on this record, or maybe you couldn't say with the band in that setting?
I think with the band, I've always talked about myself and my points of view always from a position of I'm 20, I am good looking and aware of being good looking, I'm healthy, I'm athletic, I'm talented, I'm not scared of anything, I'm like in this tank mode, kind of breaking everything that it's on my path and making it, doesn't matter what. And then this thing changed in my life. I started feeling more fallible, feeling more insecure, feeling like my thoughts were not so like shallow. I want to get to point A to point B, and I'm going to destroy everything that is on my path. I started like being, I think because of the age and experiences, like being a deeper thinking person. And like I started questioning my goals and my ambitions, and what if my ambition was out of love for that and it was real ambition, or it was pressure and external validation. And some of it was external validation, some of it was like pure love that I still bring with me every day. And it's like I myself met this new person, this new myself, and I really wanted to be able to show it to people, because for me is as true, if not more, right now than what I expressed until now. And I think that these two parts of me deserve the same novelty and the same spotlight.
And you also fell in love during the making of this record. So how did that affect the songwriting process?
A lot,
You spoke about Dove, right? But how did it affect lyrically what you were doing? Because I mean, even if you talk about like "Born with a Broken Heart," the first single, I believe that you played it for Dove early on, and
sure.
I think she said, "Why are you playing this for me?"
Yeah, are you insane? No, yes. Like I think that falling in love during the process, it's really shaped the record, because it brought so much color and joy and like sweetness into my life. And I think that translated into the album. Like I was waking up in the morning truly enthusiastic and truly like full of love and energized, and I couldn't wait to go to the session and then get back to the session and be with the person I'm falling in love with. Like it really shaped this beautiful, magical, blessed moment of my life that I think really allowed me to put a lot of color in the album, and also to talk about all the negative things that I talk about in the album from a healed point of view, from like even Born with a Broken Heart, it's lyrically, it's a sad-ish song. It's like about doubting, but the song it's happy.
But it's also about the study of a relationship gone wrong in a way, or like, you know.
It's like, I don't want this to go wrong.
Right.
It's like, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to hurt you. I'm scared. But it's still from
and
this
fragility, the fragility of that. Yeah.
But it's from a point of view of not like, oh, I'm so scared, I don't want to do it. It's like, I'm happy that I'm feeling this again.
Yeah.
It's like I'm feeling all this stuff again, and I want to sing about it.
The record is a monster record. As I said, it drops May 16th. I want to kind of dive into the record a bit more. Voices kicks off the record. Lyrically, tell me about that. Voices in your head. We all have voices in our head.
Yeah.
I think I have them now, but...
a huge component of my life is anxiety, unfortunately, about a lot of things. And I have this constant inner monologue with myself, which sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's neutral, and sometimes it's heavily negative. again, the writing process of the album happened while I was starting and being in my current relationship, but right before that, there was one of the lowest point relationship wise of my life, and I really wasn't able to stop thinking about it. So it's really like the song. It's really about being prison into this negative memory and really struggling to get to the next stage.
Even next summer, it's about Call Me When It Breaks Your Heart next summer.
Same
So
thing.
you were just waiting around for that to happen in a way, right?
Same thing.
Yeah. The same theme, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And let's talk about Angel, one of my favorite tracks on the record.
Me
Lyrically, talk to me about that song. It's such a great song. I feel like there's like 9 singles on this record. Or there might be, because there's already a few that are out. But
I don't like.
There could be.
I don't like the idea of getting in the studio and it's like, today we get the hit, today we get the filler. No, we always try to get the big song.
Yeah.
And also I want to be free to choose between singles. I don't want to have like 4 options. I want to have like 10.
But there are a bunch of singles on the record for sure.
Yeah, and for me, it's all singles, like all potential singles. I truly let the label decide what they feel more spicy with.
Definitely. So talk to me about that song, Angel, and kind of what it, lyrically.
That became because I worked with Connor and Riley McDonagh and all their Ryans. And they, before working with me, they were working with Dove. So they know her very well. And they were like, the first time they met me, so they were like, oh, you're her new dude. Tell us about her. And I was clearly like very happy and very in love. And so I decided I was like, since you know her, let's write a song that it's like strictly about her in a clear way. I don't want to make it like metaphoric. It's like, no, it's clearly about that person. And again, like I told you a few minutes ago, it's like this relationship brought this wide range of color into my life that I didn't have until that moment, and really reshaped my relationship with the external world, and also my belief in good, that like good things are gonna happen and good people are gonna come and get into your life. And so I always talk about her like an angel. I call her Angel. So it really made sense to put it into a song. And I think also we tried to give it this very, like, there's a lot of choirs and stuff. Like I was thinking about like angels during the writing process.
Who do you play the music for when it's finished? Do you play it for Dove? Do you play it for your family? Do you play it for your high school friends or your manager? I don't know, right?
I play it for Dove. I play it for my manager. He's a producer as well. I play it for my family, for my friends. And that's it.
And do you ever take stuff away? Like if you play a song for people and everyone says, this is our song, of no one likes, resonates with them. And
no,
you don't,
on that, I'm like Rick Rubin. Right. I'm paid for my confidence in my taste. That's exactly like my taste.
How do you decide on the covers you do? Because I love the Miley cover you did of Nothing Breaks Like an Open Heart. It's actually one of my favorite tracks that you've done. How do you decide? You've done great covers, begging to so many others, right? And you told me when you were younger, you were doing all kinds of stuff. So how do you kind of decide on what those songs would be?
I truly just love doing it. I think it's a beautiful practice. It's, first of all, like a very respectful and beautiful way to show love to a colleague. It's a way to be extremely creative because you take something that it's made by someone else and you kind of retailer it to your skin. And the process of deciding, it's truly gut feelings. Like I imagine in my head which songs I would like to play. I try them and I really see the feelings, the feeling I have with the song. And this song was very in my DNA, as much as that we kept it in the original key, and it has, I don't know, that edge. And also we wanted to do that type of arrangement, very like spaghetti Western.
Right.
And the song was fitting very well.
When you talk about collaborations, I had the pleasure of touring with Lana Del Rey some years ago. I love her. She's an incredible artist. I feel like you put that out there in the universe, and we should also do that too. But is that someone that you feel like you really want to? I heard you mention that before, right?
Yeah, no, I think in general, for like the feeling of the record, she would be like the greatest fit possible.
Have you met her? Do you know her at all?
I met her very quickly at last year Met Gala, but I don't think she remembers.
I'm sure she does. Do you ever talk about doing music with Dove? Is that something maybe you guys might want to do in the future?
We do it all the time in our kitchen.
Really? Maybe covers or stuff?
But we, I don't know. I feel like time has to pass before we share it with the world.
And you're doing some incredible shows coming up. You got a whole tour that's announced just recently. Yeah. When you look at some of these lineups of like Coachella and some of the music festivals, you've played a bunch of them. What do you think it's going to take to get like rock back in the fold there? Sometimes there's a little bit of rock now, but it's still primarily a lot of stuff that isn't rock and roll.
I think that if we make a rock album that sounds good and we all agree to not call it rock, it's going to top the charts.
Yeah. You just think it's because people call it rock, that's why people fight it in a way.
If you call it rock, there's a group of people that are immediately going to be like, old stuff. Then the industry and the radios are going to be, but this is like alternative. No, it's not. It's not at all. It's pop. So rock album, not call it rock. It's a guaranteed success.
But it's interesting. You've always kind of seen yourself as a pop artist in a way, right? But I guess you call pop like just popular music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
If you could play anyone in a biopic, who do you think it would be if you decided to get into acting? I mean, I'm going to go to someone like Freddie Mercury, but I don't know if you feel that connection with him.
If I have to play someone else, it would be sick to play Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I think you do a great job.
I don't think I have the vocal range.
I'm going to say you do, but that's just me,
That would be sick. That would be sick. I don't know. Because a lot of them did fucked up shit. Yeah. So it's like I don't want to
find the ones that did.
I don't want to be connected.
You mentioned that on this tour in particular, every show will be different. You want the audience to experience something where they're like part of the show in a way. In what way? Tell me about how that's going to be different. Because obviously that's a big feat to do that, to have the audience engage in the show in that way.
Yeah, I would like to have a non-fix lineup. Like always changing the order of the song. I would like to have a bunch like different versions of the song, and tonight I feel more, I don't know, nostalgic and romantic, and we're gonna play everything like 5 BPM slower and half a step down, and we're gonna create this very intimate feeling, and we're gonna play a lot of acoustic stuff and da-da-da. And then another night I feel more like wild, and we're gonna make like big arrangements and guitar solos and I don't know, drum fillers, and everything is gonna be lit up and huge and big volume. I don't know, I want to have like 3-4 different shows that I circle around every time.
You probably don't go to a lot of shows anymore, but do you ever go see a band, they don't play the songs that you were expecting them to play or their hits? Because that happens a lot of times.
I'm not a big concert
so you don't really go.
So I never experienced that.
Yeah. Is there one band that you think that you really love that you think should really be bigger than they are?
I think like Kings of Leon, Young the Giant, they should be, I don't know if bigger, because I think they do arenas and stuff, but like more respected as like a sick band.
Yeah. Do you think that's just because people's taste, like we spoke about, it's not really, that music is not really...
I think because like especially Kings of Leon, there are that in between. They're too rock for pop people and too pop for rock people. And it's like where we go. Yeah. but I think they're an amazing artist.
Amazing band. It's sort of, we do this really fun thing, Damiano, at the end of the show, our top 5 list. And it sort of ties into that question. So are there top 5, like your top 5 most underrated artists right now? I think artists that really are so good, but really no one is talking about those artists.
Oh, okay. There's a guy called Solomon. He's incredible. I think Steven Sanchez should have more.
He's amazing. He was on the show, but you're friends with him too. He's a great artist. He's like a young Elvis.
I truly think he should have more hype around him.
He's a superstar.
I don't know.
Well, we got two. We only need
We
three
got
more.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're good.
Could be top two. But I guess you mentioned like Young the Giant, right?
Yeah,
In a
Young
way,
the
I guess.
Giant, Kings of Leon, and I don't know, top four.
Yeah, top four.
And me.
And you, exactly. If you could form a supergroup, because in a way you have this amazing band you're into, and obviously your solo band, but if you could form a supergroup with anyone, dead or alive, who would those artists be? Who would you pick?
Jeez.
I guess we could start with drums.
Oh my God. Travis Barker,
Yeah, great drummer.
much fun. John Mayer, the guitar.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the vocals, right?
We bring back Victoria for the bass.
Right.
And
Is there a second guitar player in this band, or is it just a four-piece? Like Måneskin?
let's make it 4-piece because
Okay.
then people are gonna get offended. Because then we need also a second drummer. You know, I have to call all the band members. And at the voice, Chris Cornell.
Amazing choice. Chris is
Just the
definitely
best.
one of the best singers
Just
ever.
the best ever.
They got
You know?
nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think today it just got announced, and they got in, which is, I think he was so deserving. One of the greatest singers of all time. One of my
Really
favorites
should.
for sure. Do you have a perfect album, Damiano, from start to finish that you could just leave on? You don't really, okay, you turn it over, it's vinyl, whatever it may be, but
I don't want to be repetitive, but Angel Face by Steven Sanchez is it's
perfect
a,
record for you.
It's a non-skip.
What makes it such a perfect record for you?
It's one of the very few non-skip. Like there's no fillers. There's no song that you're like, okay, they had to get to 12, 14, and
Yeah.
they put this. It's like every song has a purpose. Every song it's like special in its own way. They all talk to each other, but they're all different. I think it's a very, very great album.
I love Steven. He was on the show. You remind me of each other in that you're both sensitive souls in a way. Did you just connect with him immediately when you met him?
We had a very good, like I texted him. I was like, dude, you're amazing. Your stuff, it's incredible. If you're in New York, let's meet. And like 2 days after we were in the studio.
Oh, so you wrote with him too.
We tried to make some
Amazing.
stuff together. Yeah.
So maybe
yeah.
that's coming out at some point.
I don't know. I don't know. That was very early stages.
Okay.
But maybe in the future, like he's a very, very great songwriter. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
And for you, Damiano, your top 5 rock frontmen of all time. Do you have a top 5?
I can think about it. Mick Jagger has to be there.
And why, I guess? And why are these people?
Longevity, consistency, showing up.
I mean, he's still incredible. At 83
yeah, like that's the
or 4,
thing. Like
it's
50
wild.
plus years at that
Yeah.
level, it's something not even imaginable. Freddie Mercury, vocal range, stage presence, charisma in general.
And still one of the great. You listen to it, it still sounds so incredible.
Always actual. Iggy Pop.
And what was it like working with Iggy? Because you got to work with him too, which is amazing.
Insane. It's the coolest. He's literally the coolest individual ever.
No question.
Like, we were on FaceTime and it was like, yeah, so I'm gonna record your song, and we're like, yeah, whenever. Like we're so thankful. Like just hit us when you're about to do it. It was like, no, I'm gonna do it now. He takes off his shirt, stands up, and start recording the song, and we were like, oh my God, what am I witnessing?
I saw him play at the Celine show, and he was like spitting on me. I was like, I love you, but I don't know if I want to get spit on by Iggy Pop, even though I love Iggy Pop. But you know, whatever. I took one for the team, I guess.
Yeah, better than many others.
Yeah. All right, that's your top 3. 2 more, I guess. And I agree with you on all these, by the way.
Robert Plant.
Yeah, undeniable. Now, you like Led Zeppelin, or you love Led Zeppelin, or you?
I like Led Zeppelin in the way that any music fan should like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I'm not a Led Zeppelin fan.
But you recognize.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I recognize greatness.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely. And 5th, it's hard. Okay, maybe like not the greatest ever, but like to be more contemporary, I think Lenny Kravitz.
Incredible artist.
It's actually
Yeah. I mean, he's a rock star.
definitely, he belongs in that category of like legendary animals.
And I think the world needs more rock stars. So thank you for being you
Thank
and
you.
being who you are. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming in. The
Thank
record
you.
drops May 16th. By the time you listen to this, it's just coming out. You're doing a listening party in New York tonight too,
Yeah,
which is cool. Or tomorrow night, I think.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Which is cool. That's for the fans, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And then the tour takes you through so many places, right? I think it ends in December, but you're playing New York. You're playing all over the
Yeah,
world.
yeah,
Are you
yeah,
excited by it?
I'm very happy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's a blessing to have the chance to do a world tour with my first record.
And you're playing your hometown too, which I think a lot of these
Yes.
dates are sold out already. There's like second dates being added and
A
venue
bunch
upgrades
of,
and everything.
yeah, a bunch of them.
So excited. Well, it's a fantastic record. So
Thank you.
I also want to say congratulations, and we'll have to do a part 2 soon.
Hopefully.
Awesome. Thanks, Damiano. I appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
by.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.